Hey, it's here. I'm Ray in the UK, and it's another great day, as you can see. But I'm out and about, as you do. You got to get out there and just get on with it. You can see, well, yeah, there's the. That's what I'm about to get ready to do. I'm about to go for a bit of a track run and like calisthenics, and out here in a lovely place called Dulwich College, and my little one's doing her Saturday gymnastics session, which I just dropped her off on. And recently we actually had the good fortune of being able to go to hotter climate, Thailand. All made possible then not hard work, but smart work. See, nowadays the whole landscape of the working world has changed, and many of you may have experienced the downside of kind of the old school way of doing things. And some of you may have just, cottoned on to a particularly good thing going and realized that not only has the landscape changed, but there are better ways to do things because, one, you're either very enterprising or very entrepreneurial and you basically seize opportunities as they present themselves. Or, more to the point of the majority of many of us, me included, when it happened several years ago, is that there was the big global economic, rip-off. Where, not only did we lose our shirts, or rather someone else lost our shirts for us, going effectively to the casino and just gambling it all away, and basically going off and reaching their hand out and getting taxpayer bailout. Now, there's all kinds of arguments to say that was necessary, and there's all kinds of arguments to say that it was a complete scam. But either way, the knock-on effect was quite dire, and many of you may have been affected by it negatively or really caused you to shift gears and start looking at things differently, which is essential in one's survival in the world today. However, the question is, what? If not what was basically collapsing around us, what then? Well, with the new way of doing things, i.e. leveraging the power of the internet or other new technologies, one can basically free yourself up from the shackles of that kind of debacle or that kind of fiasco or that kind of scam, if you will. Now, we all need work, we all need jobs, jobs, we all need income, we all need something. However, the question is if you have the opportunity to love what you do, or you have the opportunity to be passionate and able to engage in what you do, the majority of the people out there are basically doing just that. JOBs, getting paid to work for somebody else, many times not necessarily doing what they love, not doing what they were basically designed to do, but basically being kind of boxed into a corner or painted into the corner of having to do whatever is out there and available to do. Now, unfortunately, the landscape is getting more and more corporatized. They talk about in the media, there you go, there's another that's another machinery of basically keeping this whole thing going, is that people are better off today than they have ever been. Now, that may be right, but if the cost of living is soaring through the roof and the wages or one's income is not, and one's either being, billed to death or taxed to death or basically just priced out of livelihood, so all that hard work and all that grind and all that commitment and all that, basically giving one's value and worth to somebody else at your expense and their benefit, it's not only is it demoralizing, it's exhausting. And not only is it exhausting, it's dehumanizing. Now, not all of us are in the situation of being able to basically just cut loose and change directions at the drop of a hat. I'm not suggesting that one shouldn't do that. I'm suggesting that one has to do it very, very smartly. So, for example, if you were to take on proven online systems and then just, like any business, have to invest some money into it, not a lot, because you can get it back rather quickly, but like any business, you're going to have operating costs, you're going to have various things that one needs to do. However, most people, because the bills are due or there's more month at the end of their paycheck, that effectively there's a feeling of being stuck or in quicksand, and that can be, that can freeze you into, or kind of prevent you, or prevent one from saying, you know what, I need a change and I'm going to cut loose. And the fear factor kicks in, and then one can be frozen literally either in time or in place and not make the changes necessary to have the life that you deserve. So an option is to, rather than just work harder and take on 2-3 jobs, unless of course you've got mouths to feed, and as parents that's what one does and one has to do, but let's say you need to squirrel away some cash because you've got a plan and a dream that you're trying to do, but is to look around and do things smarter, work smarter, not necessarily harder, though one does need to commit, one does need to be disciplined, one needs to be focused, one needs a plan. But not only does one need a plan, one needs a proven methodology or a proven system or a proven way of doing things. And there are many, many out there. The question is what's yours? It depends on what your level of risk is. It depends on what level of one's skill set is. It depends on what one views as one's comfort zone. But either way, whatever it is, it's time to think about things differently. And I say differently, I'll tell you a story. When I got into this, I was involved in a social enterprise, a green energy business with a real kind of vision and mission to tackle serious poverty in developing countries of the world. I had the good fortune of growing up in many developing countries, many of them in Africa, where I spent a lot of my teen years and secondary school years. And I had an opportunity to go back there and kind of give back and contribute to try and help change and improve things for people who had been who are not only down and out and barely have a shirt on their back, which is many times falling off their back, but also who basically had experienced serious conflict and tragedy, such as the genocide in Rwanda. And part of rebuilding we did to set up a green energy business that was not only affordable, but also generated cash flow that otherwise one would not be able to have done. Now, that was the plan. It got off the ground. It did so many, many very, very cool things. Got some people really thinking about things differently. Put forward a mandate for blending, for fuel, at the pump, in the country. A lot of really cool things. And then, of course, being where it was, investment capital or investors are always looking to make their money back. And then there's their level of perceived risk, where it's very interesting that in order to help people, one is more concerned about what their money return is and taking the risk on that, or one seems to have no problem throwing money at the stock market and the perceived level of risk there. And we all know what happened there. Back to the global economic fiasco, the big con, the big ripoff, and I see it as the big scam. And the reason I say that is not because they weren't necessarily doing things that didn't work, but they just, it was gloves off. It was just all out greed and basically uncontrolled urges, such as what gambling is. However, they were gambling with yours and my cash, and many people I know lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their families, and maybe that's you. And sadly to say, I'm really sorry to hear that, and I feel for you, because when some of the investors retracted from the project that I was involved with, it had some dire consequences, as some of the things that we were wanting to do weren't able to get off the ground. We had to streamline and carry on at a level that really didn't enable the project to go to the scale of what we wanted. But fortunately, we had some good things in place and some good people involved that it continued on without having myself particularly on the ground in Africa, which is where I was at the time. I had to come home. Now, it was lovely to be able to come home because I got to spend more time with my family rather than be a Skype father. Now, then the question was after the handoff of the project, because like any business, there's some things that we're good at and there's some things that we're not basically geared for, And one has to hand these various stages of things to people that are far better at it or know more about it than ourselves. And having the wherewithal and not the ego to get in the way to see that and to accept that and to enable that takes a lot, particularly when you're the person or one of the people of, it's like your little baby where you've helped set it up and been part of it from founding it. Sometimes it's hard to let go. However, delegation is key in any project, and if you talk to any and you listen to any of the people who have been very, very successful, most of them will say they're not the particular masters of technology or the masters of a particular skill set, but they're masters of relationships with people, team building, and identifying, expertise and skill set base in the people, and the people are the high value that comes to the equation, and that's where success has come through and made some people very, very, very rich, wealthy, but also empowered to then go on to do things that are magnificent, to help change the world. Not everybody who's out there making piles of cash or just sitting on it. Other people are doing fantastic things with it. And if that's if you're one of those people who want to be able to do that, not only take care of your family and yourself and leave a legacy behind for your family and them, but also to help contribute to raising the bar for those, raising the opportunities for those who otherwise wouldn't have them, be it through education or training or infrastructure or whatever it happens to be. Good for you. This is one of those chances to do that. And, colleagues, peers, friends, mentors, coaches, highly accomplished people and successful people who are doing just that are basically what are not only their own bosses, their own best friends, in the sense that they listen to themselves, they seize opportunity quickly, they make decisions quickly, and they identify themselves and align themselves with people that have already shown and proven to do well and who share values that they agree with. So for me, to be surrounded by like-minded people, preferably in person, but the beauty of technology, like you are watching this video, is you don't always have to be present. And that's where this power of the internet and leveraging its global reach and local reach and the various ways and means of really, really setting up one's business and getting it to engage as a business, engage without the high overhead and the extra expense that is required of having a bricks and mortar business. And I say bricks and mortar in the sense that you require people to walk through your front door of your business or to call you on the phone, where in this instance it's not passive because you have to be engaged, but it's quite residual in the sense that things are happening and ticking over, not only in the foreground but in the background across the world, even while you sleep. Now, that on the face of it, of how much time that frees you up for that quality time spent with your kids or for yourself, or maybe you're retraining yourself, or maybe you want to build a house or build a school or whatever it is, or go climb a mountain or go ski as the season comes in, or give back and give thanks. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. And Christmas and the New Year, 2015, is soon upon us. If you have a plan and you need the time and the resources, this is one of those opportunities. And I can't stress enough. So there we were in Thailand. Yes, my and Mrs.'s upbringing area, country, zone, home. So there we were back in Thailand with the family, with the kids, and we were showing and sharing the experience of something very exotic and very different from what we normally live in. But also sharing one's own story, particularly her story, of where she grew up and the places that she lived in, the culture that she had thrived in and become part of who she is today. And being able to share that with the kids at a key point in their life, still as youngsters. I mean, I traveled a lot as a kid because of my family. She did as well because of her family. And however, now we have more of a home based in London. As you can see, beautiful sunny London. That's the sun there. That's it, trying to break through. Sunny London. But it's a base. They have a home that they love and thrive in. but also to share adventure and new cultures and new experiences with them is something that we very, very highly value. And being able to do that was magnificent. So there we were, through busy streets of Bangkok, and oh my God, it's just just completely new and crowded and huge, but very exotic and very hot and tropical and very, very dynamic and really fun. To hanging out and going to sanctuaries for elephants that have been wounded for various reasons or illness or something, to zip lining across the treetops of rainforests, as I know many people get to do in other parts of the world, but for us it was the first time as a family to be able to do that off the rainforest through the canopy of the northern parts of Thailand and Chiang Mai, which is a bit more sleepy than Bangkok, and excellent food, by the way. If you get a chance, I highly recommend you go there. In fact, there's a women's prison there as part of their rehab and reintegration into society, where they do, the famous Thai massage. So as part of us being able to give back rather than just give to some fly-by-night character who's, slapping their hands across your feet and calling it a massage, here's people who are getting engaged, who are looking to contribute back, have families that they need to take care of, made some mistakes but getting back on their feet and doing a good job of a new skill set and being, receiving really good, a back treatment. However, walking on my back was a new one for me, but it did the job in many areas. And then to bomb off down to southern Thailand and do some island hopping through. Many of you have seen them in the films, but these fantastically gorgeous, magnificent islands off the coast in the Andaman Sea of Thailand, or just lounging around on the beach and having the waves tickle your toes, or by the pool catching up on a book that's on the reading list, or just playing in the water with the kids. I mean, whatever it was fantastic. And meanwhile, all ticking in the background, or even occasionally engaged, because with internet access global, pretty much, I was able to dip in and out and monitor and engage and interact with my online business. Now, I don't know how many of you out there are able to do that, who are able to not only travel or go somewhere or use a Wi-Fi or plug in or a network, and effectively hot desk, relaxed in your surfer shorts or in your climbing gear, and just check in on your smartphone, which are high-powered computers, beyond some of the powers that people might even have on their desktop, and be able to effectively run, manage, and engage, and let go to go enjoy one's business. Now, here's that opportunity for you, and I can't stress enough. Lots of zeros behind people who are doing far amazing more things than I've ever done, and however, I do dream. I've got big vision. You too need to have that big vision to be able to kind of step out of the box. In fact, you know what? Do away with the box altogether. And just get stuck in working with people whose prime motivation is to change the world in ways, not just theoretically, but practically, to really empower and engage people to step out of what has been the same old, or the old school ways of doing things, and really, really step into their strength and really get interactive, with their power, and activate it at levels that will even surprise themselves. And to do things in a manner that it's not just about making the money. It's about engaging in life in a way where one is able to kind of activate in one fashion, is make money to then do other things, to just redirect one's energy, which is effectively what money is. It's just a resource, depending on how you look at it. It is a resource. I mean, we all have, I imagine many of us wanting more money is not just so that we can just stash it under our beds, because not a particularly great way of investing one's money, but the banks are obviously not doing the best that they can with it either. But anyway, engaging and getting and collecting and earning more income than we have or used to or would like to get back to. Maybe, again, we lost good jobs because of the economy. But it's not just to sit on, and just to look at and have it not either work for us or leverage it or pay for things or have fun with it, and take families on holidays, for example, or have their daughter do gymnastics or go horseback riding or whatever it is that they do. I mean, my first eldest this morning, she was horseback riding. Now we're taking my littlest one to gymnastics, and the next one's going to end up going to a pottery workshop and then go hang out with their friends, all because it's possible. And there were times where it wasn't possible. Things were very, very lean because things were being streamlined because of austerity and all that crap. Here's one of those opportunities for that to change. For you to get what it is you know you deserve, to go it is what you know you want, to get those things that you value, to engage and do those things that you really find that really represent the best of you and reflect the best of you. And this is one of those opportunities. So I can't stress enough. The sun, as much as it's trying to break through, it's starting to drizzle. And you know what? Also, you see behind me, there's a bunch of people who are running, who are actually being, what these sports grounds were designed for, being sporty. So it's my turn. So in a rather long-winded fashion and wanting to get up and going myself, rain or shine, is I'm going to leave you with this thought. And it is not to be cliche and not to be kind of old run-of-the-mill, but I can't help but keep thinking of it, is the old Henry Ford notion of whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. So obviously one needs to do what you think you can do, but sometimes it requires us to think beyond what we think we can't, and then to realize actually we can. And once we know that we can and we believe we can, and then we go do, one also has to be ready for it, be open to it, be equipped. And here's that where this particular opportunity, this particularly proven online system, this way of generating an income, generating a network, being involved in a community, building a team, and being a part of something far bigger and far, beyond the reaches of what one person can do, namely ourselves. This is one of those such opportunities. So on that note, check it out, jump in, seize the opportunity rather than wake up one day of a life of regret. I mean, remember, Apple, Microsoft, Ford, Model Ts, whether one wants green energy, whether one wants alternative energy, whether one wants different ways of doing things, they all started out with the seed of an idea. And then as those ideas presented, some of them were construed as revolutionary. Some of these people were considered as not just radicals, but anarchists, people who were just, challenging the establishment. All these things happened originally from an idea, and then at some point they got traction, they got not just popularity, but they've got support, and they got people behind them, and then they got the momentum, and then they carried everything through to the point and the levels of what they are today, and they have changed the landscape of the world as we know it, sometimes for better or for worse, but that's all part of it. It's all part of balance. But every single thing that we see out there now, be it the rugby post, the rugby match, whether it's the football pitch, whether it's the tennis court, whether it's the swimming pool, whether it's a sport, an idea, a way of doing things, the schools, whatever, somebody had a vision, an idea, and put it forward. They had enough belief, they had enough inner strength and power, integrity, and they had a team and a community of people around them who believed in wanting to take things to another level. And if that's you, and you're willing to stretch yourself, and you're willing to be open, and you're willing to commit yourself to your dreams and making them come true to the best of your ability, and you are energetic and motivated and dynamic and committed to that, and you align yourself in the sense that you follow a system and you do what it is that is required of you, and you do as one is either coached, because there are plenty of people in there who have done it and who are happy to share value, and to have a mentor, somebody who obviously also kind of challenges you and possibly one is not reaching for the highest fruit that one is able to. If you're committed and you make the decision that it is time for better, or to get better again, but not to go back, but to then to take it to a new level, then by all means, jump on in, click on through, get in on it, even if it's just to check it out at the starting level, and really connect and engage and just see how, in fact, how simple. Doesn't really, it requires effort on your part, but simple, easy way of doing things in the current day, in ways and means of things that possibly, even of my generation, just thought it was a pipe dream. And in fact, there's a reality. I have to say, now's your chance, now's your time. So, without waking up or sitting up one day and going, I wish I shoulda, woulda, coulda, no regrets. Check it out, give it a go, and in fact, don't just give it a go, give it a really, a good go, and you will surprise yourself, all going the way you should be doing it, and the chances are, you won't look back. It'll be forever looking forward, and forever being in your moment and in your present, because as you know, the great book, The Power of Now. So now is your chance, now is your time, and now is your day, so seize it. And I'll see you, and we'll see you, and we'll connect with all and myself around on the inside. Take care now, and thanks for dropping by. Cheers.